Welcome to this week's video. Okay, here's the supplies we're going to be using. You're going to need your marker board, your marker, your eraser, the bag of little Pom Pom Balls with your tongs, your cup that has your straws in it, that also has the cutouts for putting the straws in there. If you have an extra bag of change, that would be great. If you don't have the change, you can use the gold coins, but the change will actually work better for this week's activity. And then some crayons and a piece of paper, and if you can get your parent to help draw, you're going to need start with a small circle, then one a little bit bigger, one a little bit bigger, and then still one again a little bit bigger. And then the same thing with the squares. And we're going to use this for a coloring activity. So if you want to pause and go get your supplies, and then come back and we'll start. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our cup with our straws. So go ahead and take your container off, the lid off your container, and do the same thing we do with the Play-Doh. You're going to put your thumb in the middle, and you're going to use your fingertips to pull up on the lid to open the container. And then just take your straws out and place them on the table in front of you. All right, you need to get 2 groups of 5 straws. So we're going to count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 2 groups of 5, and then go ahead and count how many you have left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You might have a different amount because all the cups have different amounts of straws, and just set those over to the side. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first group of 5, and do you see how there's little holes in the lid of the cup, and you're just going to put your straws in. So we're going to use this hand first. You can just go around the lid. And then we're going to use this hand that's closer to these straws. We're going to put these straws in. So remember, we had 2 groups of 5 straws. Perfect. Now we got all of our straws in. Go ahead and take your container lid off again let's push in on our lid with our thumb and pull up with our fingertips. And then go ahead and pour them back out, and let's count how many we have all together that we just put in the cup. So we had 2 groups of 5. So let's count them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 2 groups of 5 equals 10 straws altogether. And then go ahead and let's clean this up. Put all the straws back in our cup so that we don't lose any of them. And we can go ahead and leave the lid off, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get out our bag of Pom Pom Balls and our tongs. We're going to open this up, and we're going to take out the bigger Pom Pom Balls are what we're going to use for this activity. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to count out 5 over here, and then we're going to put 5 over here. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 2 groups of 5 again. And then let's go ahead and count how many we have left over. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, you might have a different amount left over than what I have. And then just put those extra back in the bag because we won't be using those. Okay, this time we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to use our cup again, and we're going to place our cup in the middle. Go ahead and take your tongs. Put your fingers towards the bottom part of your tongs. Now your tongs may look different than mine, but they'll all work out the same. This time, we're going to take our tongs and we're going to use the balls on the opposite side. So we're going to cross over and we're going to pick these balls up with this hand. So we're just going to pick one at a time and we're going to put it in our cup. And make sure and squeeze towards the bottom of your tongs to pick up all of your little fur balls. Now, you're going to put the tongs in the opposite hand. And you're going to come over to the balls that are over on this side. And you're going to pick those up. Now remember, keep your cup in the middle. Take all of your balls inside your cup. Great job. And you can go ahead and do that a couple more times. But just to save time, we're just going to go through it one time. All right. Our next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our marker board, like we did last week, with our marker and an eraser. But this week, we're going to draw something kind of silly. We're going to draw a snowman. We're going to practice just drawing our circles. So you're going to put a circle at the top. Then you're going to put another circle. And then another circle in the bottom. Good job. So you should have 3 circles. Then what do we need to add to our snowman? We need to add legs. Our silly snowman has legs. Then we're going to add arms. So we have 2 legs, 2 arms. And what should we put on the face of our snowman? How about we put some eyes? How about a nose? How about a silly smile? Good job. Now we're going to put some buttons on the middle circle. So we're going to put 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. And our snowman is going to have a hat. So we're going to actually just draw a square at the very top for a silly hat. There we go. Make this leg a little better. All right, now we're going to count some things. How many legs does our snowman have? So let's count them. 1, 2. Good job. How many arms does our snowman have? 1, 2. So we have 2 legs and 2 arms. So we're down here, we're going to make 2 lines for his arms and 2 more lines for his legs. So how many do we have all together? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 arms and 2 legs equals 4. So we have 4 lines. Now let's look at buttons. How many buttons do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 buttons. So over here we're going to draw 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 lines for 3 buttons. And let's count those. 1, 2, 3. Good job. And the last thing we're going to do, we're going to count how many eyes we have. How many eyes does our snowman have? He has 1, 2. So we're going to make 2 lines at the top. 1, 2. Let's count those. 1, 2. And you can use your finger so you can actually touch and count. All right, that is our silly snowman. Now what I'd also like you to do is go ahead and just practice writing your name at the bottom. And you're probably going to have to get some help with that. So you can ask either your brother or sister or one of your parents or even your grandma to get them to help you. All right. Then go ahead and take your eraser. Use the black part of the eraser, and we're going to erase our board so we can get it all cleaned up. And then make sure and put the lid back on your marker so we don't lose it. And then set that over to the side. We don't want to lose our supplies. All right, the last thing we're going to do is, there's a lot of glare on this. It's hard to see. So we're going to take one of your crayons and we're going, just going to have to hold this up. We're going to use the paper that we drew the circle and the squares on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our crayon and we're going to try to hold it down to the bottom of the end, and we're just going to practice coloring in our small circle. That's just doing circular motions inside until we get it all colored in. Then we're going to move to the next one. Same thing. We're just going to use circular motions. No scribble scrabble like this. We're just going to use circular motions to color in a small circle. And then move down. So we're just practicing using circular motions to color. So no back and forth. Just using these. And try to get as much of the area covered in that you can. And then the same thing. But this one we can go a little bit faster because the area is a little bit bigger. But we're just working on using our circular motions to color in. And try to stay in the lines as much as you can. And it might take you a little bit longer to color these in. And then we're going to do the same thing with the square. So you're going to start with your smallest square. And this one's going to be a little bit harder because the edges are squared off. But still, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to use kind of small circular motions to try to stay in the lines. And then as they get bigger, you can make bigger circular motions. And if you can't color the whole thing in towards the sides, that's fine. I would rather you stay within the lines of your circle or your square than to get out of the lines. So of course our bigger square, we can make bigger circular motions. And then as you get towards the side part, make them smaller. There we go. And yours should look something like mine, but like I said, it might take you a little bit longer. But let's try to stay within the boundaries of our shapes and just use our circular motions, our small, and you might have to go slow to stay in the lines. All right, good job. And then go ahead and put your crayons back up. We don't lose our stuff again. Okay, our last thing we're going to do is If you have your change, go ahead and take your change out. If you don't have some extra change, you can go ahead and use the gold coins. But like I said, it'll actually be easier if you have the change for this activity. We're going to take out some of our pennies or other change, whatever you have. And we're going to make 2 rows of 6. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to do 6 at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, once we have our 2 rows, we're going to do the same thing that we did with the bigger coins, is we're just going to practice flipping them over. So we're going to go the whole top row. And then we're going to go to the bottom row, and we're just going to flip our coins over. Good job. Now after we got them all flipped over, we're going to practice picking them up with just one hand, and we're going to see how many we can pick up and put in our hands without dropping them. So you're going to pick them up. You're going to have to move it from your fingers to the palm of your hand. So let's see how many you can pick up without dropping them. You can get them all, or you might only get 5 in your hand. Good job. So I have all my coins in my hand. Then you're going to practice moving them from your palm out, back to the table. So I'm using my thumb to help, just sliding it forward. I'm just sliding them forward, one at a time. Good job. And go ahead and practice that a couple of times. And like I said, if you don't have the smaller coins, you can use the bigger coins. It might just be harder to get them all in your hand. You might only get a couple of those in. Then after we're done with that, then let's get our cup again that we used with our straws and our little pom pom balls, and we're just going to practice putting those into the center slot. Then we can also practice gathering up several at a time, and the same thing. Once we get them in our palm, we're going to slide them out of our palm, but put them in the cup one at a time. Same thing. And if this is too hard, you can just go ahead and take one at a time and put back into the center. All right, that's all we're going to do today. So make sure and put your pom pom balls that you have inside your cup. Make sure and put those back into your package, and then put all your supplies back up. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you.